If you are a Sri Lankan cricket fan, we don't blame you if you've been distracted from the rest of the news that's overtaking this country. But here at Around the Wickets from ThePapare.com, we're here to bring you back the focus on the cricket. As always, we've got Farveez Maharoof alongside us. Farveez, lots to talk about, but let's start with the England series that's going on. First of the three tests in Galle, known to be a fort for Sri Lankan spinners, but this time the tables have literally turned.
Of course, I thought England played really well and deservedly. They won it, and from the winning the toss and losing 2 wickets up front, and since then England has been dominating Sri Lanka in every aspect of the game. I got to say it. I mean, if you take the batting from the bowling to the fielding, they utter dominance showed.
Absolutely.
Because the professionalism was much higher than our Sri Lankans.
Yes, you could say that. I mean, skill to skill, if you were to compare England's technique and England's way of putting things forward was absolutely fantastic. I know this is not right, but would you blame the coin for this? Because Galle has generally been known for the team batting first going on to win the game. But would you blame the coin?
I mean, something that you can't control, but definitely played a part.
Yes.
Definitely played a part after England winning the toss and scoring over 300. The pressure is always going to be with the Sri Lankans. But overall, the approach, some of the shot selection of our batsmen, that's what disappoints me. Yes. And I mean, I always keep saying, you got to value a wicket. That's what England showed us. If you take Keaton Jennings' innings in the second innings, how we batted, how we grinded it out, he never let it go. Whereas our batsmen, you can see something is going to happen every time. Because apart from Angelo Matthews, I didn't see anyone else much settle. And also when you come to bowling, in the first day, I thought we bowled well, but we could have bowled much better. Like for instance, Akila Dananjaya's economy rate was more than 4 runs for no. Whereas Rangana and Dilruwan were much tighter. Right. So overall, I thought England. They showed why they are number second team in the world. Yes. And of course, Sri Lankans, as we lost the toss, ever since after the first day, we never back in the game.
In fact, you were talking about shot selection and bringing that experience. Ben Foakes, for that matter, I mean, fantastic batting on debut in a stadium like Galle against top quality spinners like Herath and Dilruwan Perera. That's fantastic batting. I mean, our batsman can learn a few things from someone like him, isn't it? I mean,
in the last show, before we previewed the first test, I said, Foakes and Rory Burns, they wouldn't have played in our conditions and they were inexperienced. But how Foakes batted, I mean, he looked like a player who has played more than 50 test matches in subcontinent. I mean, the way he defended, he knew when to attack, he knew when to defend, and even he knew when to bog down.
Absolutely.
I mean, overall, their class showed. I mean, I got to say that word because overall, when for our batting, it didn't show that. I mean, as I said before, the shot selection, some of them were pretty questionable, especially trying to save a game.
Yes.
But overall, again, England thoroughly dominated.
Yes. One last question with regard to that test match. You said that when it came to the bowling, someone like Dananjaya was trying too hard to get wickets. You said that in the ODI series also, I remember. But if there's at least one positive that we can take out of this match, it's Angelo Matthews' batting.
Definitely. I thought he came back really well after he got dropped in the one-day series and the 2020 game. I thought he showed character, scoring 2 half centuries. I mean, he could have gone and made a big 100. I mean, he would agree with me for sure because he looked so settled and he was on his own, on his class. I mean, he was not. I mean, you can't see a way he's going to get out. But apart from that, nothing much to be spoken about our batting. But bowling, I thought Dilruwan bowled really well.
Absolutely.
Was very impressed, especially after a spine injury he had before the test match. He came back, bowled well. He bowled a good line and length. Whereas Akila Dananjaya, as you correctly said, tried few 2-minute things. I mean, he's better off if he plays the next test match just to keep one line and length. Because England batsmen, if more you keep bowling the dot balls, I mean, there's going to be a loose shot.
Absolutely.
So he got to work on his patience, and obviously Rangana will be missed. And who was going to take his place?
I was going to get to that because you said Dananjaya needs to, if he's playing the second test match, he's got big boots to fill because Rangana Herath is no more. Yeah. A fantastic send-off given to him by Sri Lanka Cricket. But who's going to be that next spinner who's going to take the mantle? I mean, even Dilruwan Perera is aging, as we can see. So Dananjaya is there. Other than that, do you see anyone taking up that responsibility? I mean, it's a tough times ahead, isn't it?
I mean, I said in the last show as well. I mean, Dilruwan is aging. I mean, he may play 1 or 2 years.
Yes.
I mean, immediately we can only look at Akila Dananjaya. Yeah. But with the problem what is going on, I'm sure that he'll work on it and try to get it cleared. But I'm pretty sure that Malinda Pushkumar will play tomorrow because like-to-like replacement for Rangana Herath. I mean, he has proved his mettle in domestic structure in first-class cricket, but he hasn't taken that mettle in the Test cricket. So this is his opportunity. This is an ideal opportunity. 2 Test matches against England. You know, if he bowls well, I think if he contains the batsman well, he will take wickets. He's that sort of a bowler. He's a bowler who likes to bowl lots of overs. He likes to bowl more containing overs. So that's what we lack at the moment. That's what exactly Ranganathan does. I mean, Ranganathan, no fluke. He just have the one delivery, but different variation in pace. But similarly, Malinathan Shumara can take that mettle, but it all depends on the patience of Akila, Dilruwan and Malinathan.
Absolutely. I mean, in fact, Malinathan Pushpakumara, his baptism to Test cricket wasn't that great against a very quality opposition that was India. So you can't really judge a bowler from that. But then, yes, he's someone that we can look to replace Rangana Herath and, you know, take on that spin challenge for Sri Lanka. We spoke about Akila having issues, that suspect action that has been reported against him. Are you worried that his action might be a concern? I mean, he's got 14 days to undergo testing, but he is allowed to bowl until then. But do you think he's going to come out of it? Should we be worried, or does it seem fine, based on your experience, Farveez?
I mean, I have seen Sachin Senag went through the same thing and eventually never played. But, you know, when it comes to Akila, he has different variations. I don't think his googly and the leg spin is the problem. The problem, the suspect is the off spin.
Right.
The thing that is under, you know, it's over 15.
But that's his stock ball, though.
That's a stock ball. So, you know, it depends on how, now its character shows. I mean, knowing that this is going to happen. And if I'm the judge, I'll probably not play him tomorrow.
Right.
Probably make a young guy mentally maybe down. I mean, taking a huge risk. And soon after this Test match, he has to go for a testing. So there's lots of ifs and buts. But I mean, at this moment, I understand he has to play. He has to play because he's our trump card when it comes to all the variations. And that's where, as I said, his character, his mentality, how strong he is.
And we've seen that in ODIs. When he has a bad day, the next match he comes back strong. So we're hoping in the second test he can come back strong.
I mean, definitely. I mean, he's a guy who's very strong. I mean, he's not that big in stature, but very strong boy. I mean, he has worked his way up from ever since he's made his debut.
On the World Cup,
From the World Cup onwards. And I just hope that, you know, this case clears away because he's our #1 bowler for me in any format. In one day, 2020 test. So I think, you know, he should work hard towards getting his action cleared.
Right.
Forget about everything what has happened. You know, think about what is happened, what's to happen in future, and work towards it.
Well, there you go. So that's Dananjaya being concerned with his action, but that's not the only worries we have, Farveez. I mean, you take the batting. You said other than Matthews, nobody else looked like getting any runs out there. But I still think that Chandimal to date is one of our best Test batsmen, and he's proved to be that. He's out, being the captain, because he got a grade 1 tear sustained in the first Test. We all saw they were struggling with the groin injury. Big loss in the batting lineup.
Definitely, I think Chandimal is a big boost. He's going to be as a big boots to fill in. Who's going? I think it's Roshan Silla is most probably going to fill in his boots. But overall, I mean, Chandi's the injury had is in his groin. Eventually played a part in his batting as well. He could stretch much. I mean, in Sri Lanka, either he had to be right up front or right up back, and Chandi couldn't do it. So that actually played a part in that situation. So he's going to be a big lose as a captain, as a leader, as a batsman. But it's a chance for whoever the replacement is going to be. It's just like a positive side.
Speaking of that replacements, we know that Tirimanne and Kusal Janit Perera were in the standby, as were the standby players. But surprisingly, Charit Asalanka has been drafted in. Your thoughts on that? I mean, I've seen him batting. He looks good. But is there protocol not being followed? What do you think?
I think protocol is definitely not followed. I mean, when you name a standby, there are 4 standbys. And so 2 batsmen in that is Tirimanne and Kusal Janit. And not considering them and bringing Charit Asalanka straight from out of the standby. I mean, I see a bit demoralizing to Tirimanne or Kusal Janit, to be honest. I mean, I've gone through the same in my past when I was playing. So I know how the 2 batsmen will be feeling. I mean, definitely there should be a system. I mean, but how I see it, I mean, either it's the standby is no use, or else they think that Charit Asalanka is much better suited for these conditions. So whatever it's going to be, but definitely not the way to bring a player in that manner. Nothing against Charit Asalanka. He's a good player. I like him as a player. He's a guy who values his wicket. You know, he likes to bat a long time. But you know, talking about Kusal Janit and Tirimanne, how it happened, being in the standby is not considering. It's something boring for me, definitely.
Right. So we're going to Pallekele for the second test. We said that Herath is obviously retired, and then Chandimal is not available. Who are your 2 replacements for the team if you're not making any other changes? I think for Herath, Rangana is going to be Malinathan Pushpakumara. And for Dinesh, it's going to be Roshan Silla because he was sitting out in the first test. He's in the squad.
He's in the squad. So I'm interested to see what position position Roshan is going to bat. I think it's going to be batting at number 4 or number 6. Personally, I like to see him batting at number 4 because he's a batsman who likes to occupy the crease more. He's more of a Chandimal guy. I mean, likes to occupy the wicket in the wicket for a while. And I'll keep Angelo at 5, play Dananjaya at 6. And if he's fit enough, I got to know that he's struggling with his thumb. He got a hit. So in case Dananjaya can't make it, it's going to be Charith Asalanka.
Right.
But I'll have Dananjaya at 6, Roshan at 4, and Iqbal at 7.
Right. So there you go. That's the batting lineup that Farveez prefers. Hopefully, it might bring in much needed change and better solid batting performance, hopefully, by the Sri Lankans. Going into Pallekele, you think England will make many changes in order to try and test some of their bench players, or they're going to go for the kill and try to wrap up the series?
No, I mean, I don't think they will make any change. Only worry would be now if Johnny Bairstow is fit and whether to leave out Ben Foakes. Personally, I wouldn't. That's the headache they have. They have so many headaches to select. But in the other end, we are on the other side. So that's the difference between two teams.
You've got a good headache and we've got a bad headache.
Exactly, too many injuries and everything. But where else, Johnny Bairstow being their #1 gloveman and one of the best batsmen, can't find a place. But if there is going to be any change, only change I can see is Johnny Bairstow coming into the team just as a batsman. Maybe one of the top order batsmen like Rory Burns might be left out, but even I doubt it. That's going to happen. Right. Also, there's a talk that Josh Butler is going to bat at number 3, and getting Moeen Ali.
Because he's not been performing so much.
Exactly. Josh Butler at number 3 would be great for England because he's very positive. And if we play 3 spinners, he's good against spin. So if he gets going, there's someone to look into.
Right, so there you go. A tall order for the Sri Lankan bowlers to try and contain that England batting, which has been fantastic all tour from the ODIs to the 2020s and also in the test matches. So that's that. Speaking of batting, speaking of good batting, Farveez, Pallekele is known to be a good batting track. Lots of runs being scored there. Will it be the same as some of the other traditional Sri Lankan spinning pitches prepared for the test match, or are we expecting a big run fest, 600, 700 runs per innings perhaps?
I definitely don't think it will be a run fest. Right. We are behind the game now. We are 1-0 trailing. Right. So we got to win it, and our best chance of winning it is giving it something of a wicket that we gave to South Africa or Australia. I mean, that's the best chance we have. But saying that, they got 3 good spinners as well. So we got to bat well as well. So we're in a bit of a dilemma. But personally, I think it'll be some sort of a spinning wicket for sure. They won't. I don't think they'll too much bank on a good batting wicket because playing only 1 fast bowler. That's a huge risk we are taking. I mean, in case if Surang Lakpal breaks down, there's no fast bowler in the squad. So there's a huge risk calling up. But for me personally, I think we should give a wicket which is going to turn from the first ball.
Yes. I mean, that's our strength. The Sri Lankan bowlers are known to be so good at home because of their strength in spin. Right. So that's that. As long as the first Test match was concerned against England, we move on to some of the news that's coming in from West Indies. The T20 World Cup is on, the Women's World Cup to be precise. Sri Lanka had 1 game against South Africa women. Obviously, the South Africans won by 7 wickets at the St. Lucia Stadium on the 12th of November. Then the match against England in St. Lucia was washed out. There's been crazy weather over there in West Indies. The South African match, Sri Lanka batted first, were 99 for 8 in their 20 overs. Shashikala Siriwardena scored 21. Dilani Manodara scored 20. South Africa women chased that score down 102 for 3 in just 18.3 overs. The top scorer being Marizen Cup with 38 runs. And Shashikala getting 1 wicket for 12 runs. So that was the Sri Lanka women's update. That's what's happening in West Indies with regards to the T20. Even the under-19 side, the Sri Lankan under-19 boys side is in action against Bangladesh, who are here in the island. It was a rain-marred series, have most series been of the recent past. But there was a result. There were 4 matches that were played. And in fact, there were 3 matches that were played, and Sri Lankans won the series 2-1. Some of the very good performers in that were Navod Paranavitana with 195 runs in 2 wickets, Kamil Mishara 111 runs in 3 innings, Ravin De Silva with 4 wickets, Rohan Sanjaya with 4 wickets, and Ashin Daniel with 4 wickets. So Sri Lanka under 19 looking good. The young boys look good, and we hope that they can bring that form and experience into the senior side whenever they make it. Impressed with the Sri Lanka under 19 side against a good Bangladesh side?
Definitely. I thought they came back very hard after being losing the first Test match. They won the second Test match. Ever since it was a closely contested one-day series. Overall, the under 19 is on a high. They're going on the right path, and the next year's World Cup would be something that they're targeting, and hopefully we can bring it home. And overall, under 19 has been doing well. Hopefully, as you said, we get few of the boys coming into the system and going in the ladder.
Wonderful. So there you go. That's Sri Lanka under-19 team beating Bangladesh 2-1, just to remind you again. Okay, so we move on to something that I'm sure Farveez is excited to talk about. His team, MAS Unichala, won the Singer MCA T20 Championship, beating JKH John Kills by just 1 wicket, apparently in a low-scoring final. Farveez, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, JKH were all out for 90, and we lost 9 wickets to get that score. No. A bit of a slow turner, but overall a good game of T20, a big crowd at MCA, and MAS Unichala has a tradition of winning 1 trophy in a season, and we kept it this season. LB Finance won the league tournament, and the knockout was won by our sister company MAS Silhouette, which is a different team, different management. And we had the biggest pressure because every year we win something. So and eventually we got through. I mean, we actually scraped through. I mean, last wicket we had to score 16. And
don't tell me you were on strike.
No, I was on strike. I got out pretty early. Nipun Ransikar, the under-19 boy, came and hit 2 6, and that's it. I mean, that boy became the best bowler.
Wow. Okay.
He bowled really well, and one youngster to look into. I mean, he got pace, he got bounce, good tall boy. So I think he's in the right path, and overall, MAS Unichala, we kept the tradition of winning at least 1.
Wonderful. All right. So your trophy cabinet gets expanded, hopefully. You told me last time we had a chat that the Mercantile tournament is something that really must be looked at interestingly because it's very competitive. You think the future is going to be a lot of mercantile cricket and maybe lesser club cricket? Where are we heading with mercantile cricket?
I think there should be a balance. I mean, mercantile cricket should be considered. That's what I said last time. It should be considered because it's probably the second competitive tournament after the provincial tournament. So I think it has to give them the right respect of looking into the performances. But overall, this year it was most of the games were washed out. So that was a bit of a thing that demotivating factor as well. But overall, Mercantile tournament as ever was very competitive.
All right, so there you go. Congrats to MAS Unichala for winning that T20 championship in the Mercantile tournament. That's as far as the cricket is concerned over the past week here in Sri Lanka. The question for the week is: in which year did Pallekele International Cricket Stadium make its test debut? Interesting question. Even I don't know the answer for that. So this week's question is: in which year did Pallekele International Cricket Stadium make its test debut? Make sure your answers on the Facebook comments on the program that's going to be aired. The last week we asked you a question: who was Rangana Herat's first international wicket? The answer is Ricky Ponting, apparently at in fact, the wicket was Ricky Ponting, and it was a beautiful flighted delivery which Arjun Ranatunga took the catch, and Herat took 4 wickets, which was in his test debut. So that's the answer. Ricky Ponting is the answer, which was Herat's first international wicket. Sorry about that. And the answer for that, the winner for that, is Geet Samarakun from Kandy. So congrats, Geet, on getting that answer right. Just to remind you, this week's question again: in which year did Pallekele International Cricket Stadium make its test debut? So that's a wrap from all of us here at Around the Wickets. Farveez, thank you once again for providing your insights on what has happened over the past week. Until we see you again next week, it's goodbye from all of us on ThePapare.com.